Welcome to the Soul Touched by Dogs podcast, the show for dog lovers who see dogs not as toys or tools, but wise souls worth our respect and care. I'm Anke Herman, and I'm your host. I talk to awesome humans, people who do great work for dogs and their people. So come and join us for today's conversation. Hello and welcome, Vrushali. I'm super happy to have you here.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
I really look forward to this conversation. Before we dive into the depth of it, let people know, where are you based and what's your business with dogs?
Excellent, thank you. I am based in India. I work remotely with career-oriented pet parents who are based in US, mainly the Pacific time zones and Central time zones, as well as Europe. The reason is very interesting, although we can look into that once your listeners really want to know and want to connect with me. So there's a reason behind that, but that's where I am based, and that's what I do.
Right. So, what's special about pet parents? Like, what do you do for them?
Okay, so you know how the older we get, the more we ask, what if? And with pet parents, it's like we have dogs and we love them to bits. And, as they age, we start thinking about what if I spent more time? What if I did things differently? So, what I do is reawaken harmony to allow such pet parents to bypass the steep cost of regret by generating compassion and really spending time with their fur babies.
Oh, so you're not missing out on that, like, oh, the steep cost of regret. That's juicy. That might just turn into the title of this. So what, but like, what would people normally, when they come to you, like, what are they looking for? What do they say they want? Are people, because I'm feeling like, is this something that people are like really aware of and say, hey, I really need help because I don't know, I think I'm not doing the best I can? Or like, what would somebody typically say when they come to you?
Great question. So I have two dogs. One is a golden retriever girl who's because of her energy level, she's mistaken for a male dog. And I have a rehomed rescue adult dog whose name is Marshall. And because he is so quiet and he looks very docile, he's mistaken to be a female.
That's funny.
So I have two dogs, and we go out on trips, we go on walks together. So when we are out, the most common comments that I get to hear are, "Oh, she's got two." Oh, such cute dogs. And then pet parents want to know what breed they are, if I've always had them since a puppy. The other questions I'm asked once they find out that Marshall is adopted, he is rehomed. They're like, "Oh, how did you go into all of this?" And that's how conversations usually start.
Oh, so now, and if they say, hey, we've just adopted a dog, can you help? Or because I'm sort of thinking like the regret is the stuff that people become aware afterwards, right? So, you know,
Absolutely. Um, so then I just ask them what is it that they want to know, because even with dogs, because you've got different breeds, you've got dogs with different ages, different genders, different backgrounds. So you kind of know that it's really, it's a very dynamic combination. Similarly, first I ask them what is it that they really want. Do they want help with food? Do they just want somebody to listen to? Because even that's really important. And then I
oh,
go from there. Yeah. So, for example, they'll ask me, what breed is he? And I'm like, I don't know, and I don't really care. However, I do know that he's a Catalan Shepherd because I did some research. So, there's a lot of background investigation, background research that goes into me as a pet parent. I'm a total geek about stuff about my dogs. So when before getting in touch with you, I listened to so many of the guests that you had on board, and they talked about food, they talked about the doggy planet, they talked about healing and stuff. So that is really interesting to me. And pet parents really come to me with a lot of different questions about even, so both my dogs are, for example, animal assisted therapy dogs. So what on earth does that mean? How does that help? And then I will tell them that, just having a dog around you and having humans around who are like, no, just keep your dogs to yourself. And 6 months down the line, when we meet back, they'll say, oh, yeah, so and so now interacts with my dog. Just that much of building a relationship without doing anything else but a wagging tail and those puppy eyes is enough for, humans to interact, get their stress levels down. And the dog really doesn't speak out much, but without even speaking out, they do so much for the humans. And that's a topic that I can go on and on about.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's so true. I mean, I I got your book. No, you sent me your book. I didn't like, I don't want to make it sound as if I went and bought it when you actually sent it to me. I could have bought it. But the thing that really struck me was how methodical you were when you brought in Marshall. When you brought Marshall home, like that seemed like it's almost like you took this like a research project.
That is correct. Yes, absolutely. Because it all began with, I kind of want Blossom to have a companion, a doggy companion, and it doesn't have to be someone to mate with, but just an animal companion, not just the humans. So that's where my entire research began. So, and I began with volunteering. It's a little, I took the roundabout route because it ended up being more satisfying, giving me more insights. I
Mm.
worked, so my educational qualification is in a degree in commerce. We call it the Bachelor of Commerce. So I can be an accountant, I can work as an accountant. So I went to a veterinarian here and I said, hey, do you want somebody in accounting and operations? And he was happy to take me on. So I worked in a veterinary clinic. So I found out what doctors do, what pet parents come to them with, and or I work so different aspects. That's why I'm saying I'm taking the roundabout route to becoming a pet parent. So I researched about rescues, about shelters, about and this whole world about dogs who need to be rehomed came up. And I'm like, okay, so Blossom's companion is going to be rehomed. I don't want a golden retriever. I want a different breed. I don't care what breed it is, as long as they can be, kind of trained to be, not make a mess in the house and not bark unnecessarily. Otherwise, the house is ruled by the dogs. They are leash free, they are cage free, but with a bit of discipline. So I went about doing a lot of research, and then finally Marshall came home. I call him my secret Santa because he came on 24th of December.
Oh, that's so cute.
Absolutely. And the first, just the first week, I could see he would find a cozy corner in the room that most of us were in, and he would just sit there. And I could feel off him that I like being a part of a family unit, is the feeling I got from him. And that was just so humbling to know that that was something as simple as that was his ask. And I'm like, okay, you've got a home, and let's just work out all the kinks together. So, yeah, I'm a bit methodical.
But that's beautiful because I think it's almost like the opposite of what most people do. You know, they just bring a dog home and they just like expect the dog to magically know how everything works. And what I love about the way you even unpack that in the book, it's like, you know, it kind of shows why it can actually be challenging because there are a lot of little things to think about and a lot of steps that one could kind of overlook, right? So if you compare how you went about, you know, making sure Marshall fits into the family and what you see, say your clients or other people do, what's the biggest mistake people make? Like what's the step that most people or too many people overlook?
Okay, so I'm smiling as you complete the sentence because I'm so excited to share. Excuse me for that. What I see is, how you have those Instagram or social media memes where one picture is when you have a meeting in audio, it's a whole messy face. And when you have an online meeting on video, it's a well made up face. That's basically the reality. When you get a dog home, we want to go all in, and we are correct in our place. It's just that as a dog, they want to be a part of the family. The way they want to be a part of the family, the only way they know how is to jump, is to bark, and is to chew, because that's the senses that they are attuned to the most. And this gap becomes too big, it keeps getting bigger unless we sit down, give them space, we take our space and take it one day at a time, and not have them into a well trained, a well behaving person from day zero. Yes, training starts from day zero. Yes, good manners start from day zero, not even day one. I don't even wait. The second he got into my vehicle was when his good manners, instructions began. I don't like to call it training, because I say the dogs trained me to become a better human, not the other
I
way
think so
around.
too. Yeah, totally. That totally speaks to me too.
Absolutely. So that is basically it. So give them space, give them time, give them a lot of love, and also remember to be disciplined in what you do with them, and you'll just have a really beautiful relationship.
Mm. So when you say be disciplined in what you do with them, what does that look like? Because discipline is a I think in the dog training world can be a bit of a loaded word, because it's about being clear of how we do things around here. So how do you go about that? How do you go about teaching your dog, like, okay, the sofa is off limits or not, or like, I don't want you to pee in the house or chew up whatever.
Excellent. Yes, yeah, and you're absolutely right. There are different perspectives to discipline. And even with my two dogs, their discipline angles are totally different. But then I take into consideration the breed of the dog. So, they're just naturally, a shepherd or a sheepdog could be an alerting dog. So his first instinct could be to bark and could be to round up, so you can't not take that into consideration. The second thing was that I did experiment with a long leash, um, enclosures. So my leashes for both of them they begin with 500 meters. So it's like half a foot, 1 foot, and 2 feet long leashes that I have. I don't have shorter leashes than that. They're always on a harness and not on a collar. It's just something that I've realized that they like it. So I would experiment gently, that if is he food oriented. Then I found out that no, he really spooks, and food doesn't help, comfort helps. He needs a cozy, um, unlit place, and that's where he's the
Mm.
most comfortable. He likes being anchored. And how will I anchor him? I've got a long leash, but it's tethered to his spot, and he can roam around, but to a certain extent. And that's, to me, what discipline means, is that they have some non-negotiables. So when it's the afternoon or when it's late in the night, even if there is a disturbance, they will bark as an alert and not go into a barking frenzy. The main reason being, I live in the heart of the city here. It's a very urban setting, and there are a lot of senior citizens around me. And it really messes up, their night schedule if dogs are barking continuously. And they've understood that. And, so that's one of the non-negotiables I have. The other non-negotiable is that you can't chew on a human being. You've got your toys, and they've got a lot of frozen treats. Everything other than that is up for negotiation.
Oh, I love that. I love that because I think it's all driven. It's driven by love. It's to keep them safe. It's to keep. And you know what I really love about what you just shared is how you really listen to the dog in front of you. So it's not just like, here are the rules. It's like, okay, what does this dog need? What does this dog need? And I think we can do a lot of good for our dogs if we just follow that one rule. So like literally listen to the dog in front of you and experiment, right? To try stuff out to see what works best. I just totally love that. And I really wish, I want to ask you, where can people get your book and find out more about you, connect with you? Where are we going to send them?
Definitely. And thank you for saying it is, and it feels like a struggle initially. So think about it like getting to know a new friend. When we go to school, as children or as adults, young adults, the college environment, the high school environment is new for us as a person. So we want to experiment. We want to see who the cool kids are, who the quiet ones are, who really want to be friends. And it takes time for us to make friends, be acquainted with other students. So if we look at that perspective and just take the whole chunk of that and move it to dog parenting, it'll make our lives more stress free, I would say. Give yourself some grace that every dog is different and you want to do what's best for them. So just go about it a little kindly.
I love that. I love that. So where can people get the book and, connect with you?
So definitely, just for your guests and your listeners, I do have a special offer, which you will put in the notes. So I'm not going to say it out loud, but where they can get the book is on two online sites, which is Kobo and on Google Books. And if they go to my website, which is Vrushali, okay, it's a very unique name, and I believe your listeners will remember it. So I'm going to say it a little slowly. It's Vrushali and Blossom.com,
Love
because
it. We'll pop it
Vrushali
in
is my
below above.
name and Blossom is my dog's name, and we work together as a team. That's why it
Oh,
has to be me and my dog. So it's
I
Vrushali
love that.
and
And so
Blossom.com.
now I'm thinking like the more dogs you get, then it's gonna get longer and longer.
Absolutely. And if they put in / adopt hyphen don't hyphen shop, so adopt don't shop, dashes in between, that's where they can get my ebook.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much. And because I think there's so much um like practical tips, but also I just love the attitude you bring to this. So like, thank you so much. This was absolutely delightful, and I can't wait to connect with you again.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review so other dog lovers can find the show. If you haven't already, head over to soultouchedbydogs.com and sign up for weekly doggy cuteness, tips, recommendations, and personal stories to warm your dog-loving heart. And if you know a awesome human you think I should interview, I'd love an introduction. Email me at Anke, that's ANKE, at soultouchedbydogs.com.